Hello. We had a little bit of a misfire to start, but we are here now. So
Which
thanks
means
for hanging with us.
I need the power.
We need the power and and a strength and honor.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Patriot Crusader Missions Christian Warrior Talk Fellowship Friday, Strength and Honor edition.
All right, people are popping on. Mighty
it
quick.
is-
They were waiting for us.
There is good news in the world today. I have the hiccups from the chicken. The dry chicken gave me hiccups.
Dry chicken.
It was dry. Andrew, where were you last night? We were missing you in the small group.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have freedom still in America, freedom to smoke a pedophile and other felons as they try to kill you. You have the right to defend yourself in some places. And for the record, that is from chicken. I just had a bite of leftover chicken and had to swallow like 30 times to get it down. So it's all good, Andrew. So now all the judgy Christians are like, look at that.
He's hiccuping.
He's hiccuping.
he
He hiccuped before he even had a sip of wine.
must be drunk.
Oh, God. So great news.
Forgive me for this thought process.
Oh, wait, so let's get caught up here. Okay. So here's to Andrew.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Christopher.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Michelle.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Oh, man, Dan.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Awesome.
Michelle got my Let's Go Brandon sweatshirt today, too.
Oh, man.
Did you all see what DeSantis did?
Savage. Straight up savage edition. Even that guy's got skills.
The was it?
He signed some executive order.
State executive order.
Saying that he wasn't going to enforce the tyrannical COVID laws.
And he tracked down a town called Brandon.
And a dealership.
Called Brandon.
Brandon Honda in Brandon. And that's where he signed his executive order. So here's the Ron DeSantis.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
You need to pinch your nose and drink backwards.
What?
I've shown you that.
This?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't think that was going to work very well. All right. So what I've wondered, and this might be like my tendencies to give people the benefit of the doubt kind of thing, flaring a little too strongly. And I clearly believe that everyone rightly got killed that night for the actions that they chose to take, and that Kyle Rittenhouse was right in defending himself. But in and of itself, should the fact that someone was formerly a sex offender or any of the things play into your opinion of him or your thinking that he deserved it in the action at hand? Like, is that a relevant fact?
Absolutely, because he was a psychotic, off his meds, sex offender who just got out of prison and decided to show up to burn the city down.
So psychotic and off his meds, I can understand. Is the sex offender thing relevant?
Yeah, it shows poor judgment. It shows that he has a criminal mind.
It shows character.
And that, character, very recent, relevant character.
Okay. I guess it was a very recent.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're talking about the kid who had to defend himself, no record, exemplary citizen, volunteer, always put himself second, who smoked a bunch of scumbags.
Right.
The kid's a hero.
Yeah. I mean, obviously,
as he was running to turn
Kyle
himself
didn't know
into
their rap sheets at the point that he engaged.
Well, no, he was there defending property because the cowardly police, who were not allowed to be cops by their governor or their mayor, stood back and let BLM do whatever they wanted that whole summer.
Yeah.
They let them loot, riot, rape, murder, brutalize whoever they wanted, right? And suburban moms still didn't care and still voted for Joe Biden.
Yeah. Have you seen, speaking of sex offenders, have you seen that professor and the movement to reclassify pedophiles?
We all told you this was coming. We all told you that it was going to go from homosexuality to transgenderism to pedophilia to normalize
there's
it.
too much like stigma or something and judgment around the term pedophile, and so they want to now reterm it minor attracted person.
Yeah. Yep.
And like there's a whole group and movement supporting that. How innocent sounding.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and just absolutely disgusting all around. The worst part about this whole thing was the media, was the left pushing a narrative that was totally untrue, was the president, right? This imposter president pushing a false narrative, calling Kyle a white supremacist, which is the most racist thing I think I've ever heard. So because he's calling him, because he's a white kid, he's got to be a white supremacist.
Right.
Right. He had nothing. They took his phone, went through not a trace of white supremacy in it whatsoever. Yeah. Just a kid who was there to help.
And all the victims were white. I mean, all of the talking points just are ridiculous.
Like, why is BLM and Joy Reid, and all these clowns, these disgraces to humanity, even a part of this discussion? A white dude smoked a bunch of other white dudes. What does it have to do with race?
Nothing other
it's
than
almost like Chicago.
That they were trying to say it was a peaceful protest for the shooting of Jacob Blake.
Yeah, which they're already calling that a lie. They said the unarmed man Jacob Blake, who had a knife, and
I think Tucker was talking about tonight. Everyone's calling it the killing of
Jake. Yeah, he's alive.
Blake. He's alive. It's like
they're not victims. They are what was that meme? That was savage level extreme. Some lefties are born and others are made.
Oh, yeah.
Of that dude holding the gun to Kyle's head and his bicep getting vaporized.
Oh, that's such a nasty picture.
Oh.
It's awful.
Yeah. So anyways, I don't want to dwell on this too bad other than to say there are still freedom-loving Americans today in and around. We are not alone. And I just want to say that those jurors did a brave thing. They knew that no matter what they saw, no matter what they did, they were going to be charged. Oh,
McNeely?
McNeely.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
And who said High Gang of Hope? Because we don't have your name on that.
I was trying to see if I could find them on. Oh, that's Victor.
Oh, okay.
On your page.
What's up, Victor?
That's interesting. So that's how the new feature or whatever is not pulling over usernames.
Pulling over usernames from Facebook.
That's not.
So that means go over to YouTube. That's what that means.
Yeah. Well, it worked for Christopher.
Oh, he's connected it. He must have connected it to Restream. There's an option too when you log in. That's a great question there, Dan. Why did the felon who's not allowed to own a weapon, who was pointing a weapon at Kyle,
why did he?
Why didn't he get charged? Oh dear, what up, man?
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Dan already too?
We did, but we can get him again.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Thanks, Victor.
So anyways, the good guys won one today. I was talking to a friend from Virginia whose initials are TT.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, man, it's like America's America again. I'm like, dude, don't even start thinking that.
Don't blink.
Don't blink. Virginia will be blue in 2 years. Trust me. All the spoiled soccer moms who've never had a hard day in her life will turn on us in a second. The second the now Republican administration does a pro Second Amendment,
conservative.
acts conservative and does a pro Second Amendment item to undo what the previous one did. The second they do a pro life agenda, it'll be
all undone again.
Oh yeah. So
you said that some people were like, "Come back to Virginia."
Yeah, and again we saw that the FBI leaked documents from a whistleblower inside the FBI showed that the Attorney General Garland,
Merrick Garland,
lied to Congress and had targeted, had used terrorist tools to go after parents from these school board meetings. Like we knew they do. Like the FBI is the biggest turd organization out there, and it has turned into the Gestapo. And literally they are the enemy. They need to be disbanded. There are good people in those ranks, but they are so corrupt. They are so broken. They have lost all credibility to them. I got nothing for them, man.
Yeah. I mean,
my heart breaks for the Patriots over there. Chris was there. My heart breaks for the Patriots over there, but they have had way too much power for way too long. Anytime they can lie to you and it's not a charge and you lie to them and it is a charge, that is a system in balance, my friends.
Amen.
Yeah. So disband all these federal agencies, reform them, and have full audit powers over them because this is just disgusting.
I know I've heard, the we need to disband and start over. Is that even possible?
Of course it is. Of course it is.
I mean, there's so much tied up in all of these organizations for them to be like, how would you do it? Would you like kind of in the same way, like when you make a website, you copy
No, I do not believe it's just a few, Andrew. I do not believe it's just a few. They have been taking over their leadership for the past 30 to 40 years has been infiltrated by Ivy League socialists. That you have to have a degree to get in the FBI, right? And so they have been 100% politicized for far too long. They are no longer to be trusted in anything. I wouldn't trust them to tie my shoe, period.
Yeah. But so obviously, I mean, there's a lot of functionality that they're doing that is necessary. So you would have to build up the replacement while the current one was still operational and then shut it down when the new one is ready to go.
You keep the low-level troops and you keep the people who actually do the work, right? You keep them and then you rotate in, people that are proven to be good.
So by disbanded, it's essentially a replacement of anyone.
It's rename the department, tiers. Get rid of the name, get rid of the legacy, wipe it out for what it is. Start over, keeping, 50 to 70% of the personnel.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right, hold on.
And swallow.
Swallowing's what's got me into this.
While you're not breathing, it resets. That's what you do when you're drinking upside down. But so you're doing without the drinking upside down part.
All right, we'll see. Anyways, so Victor from not Victor, but Andrew from Russia would know what the KGB looks like. It's our FBI. They are political. That didn't work. They're a political tool. That's the last trick I try to do to get rid of these things. I only know one way.
Right. Oh,
and that's burping. Burping gets rid of them all the time. Lauren, why are you burping? Gross. So anyways, I do not trust the FBI. I do not trust any 3-letter agency, period.
Funny how the media and the government 3-letter agencies all.
I used to. I had them call me when I talk so. All right, here we go.
Oh, you're doing it again. So how's everyone doing? Well, we're waiting for Jason to do his hiccups. We were before we came on the show. He got an intro into baby gymnastics, baby alien.
I was
movements.
horrified.
She was doing quite a display in there.
It was horrific.
Horrific, yeah.
I mean,
He's so
I was
grossed
like,
out by
it was like it didn't feel
the
like a
miracle
human.
of life went over his head. He
Yeah.
was just like, that's
I
disgusting.
mean, there are normal baby movements, and then there's what I felt on in there, which felt like, I don't know, like 1,000 eels, like going crazy in your stomach with bones, though.
Bony eels.
Yeah.
What a sweet way to describe it. All right, we are not going to try to solve the hiccups.
Nope, hiccups are what it is, guys. Sorry, you can laugh at me. No, it's all good. Dumb Jason ate a dry piece of chicken before he came on air.
It was really good chicken marsala.
It was with sauce, but I did it without sauce.
Oh, you're going to Gatlinburg for Thanksgiving. Okay.
Wow, man,
Tell
that's
us if you're
awesome.
swinging by here.
Get used to a lot of traffic. It's like pretending to be in New York City or DC in rush hour all day, every day, just to go down the strip.
Yeah, well, I guess so Pigeon Forge,
It's
Dollywood
even worse.
does a big holiday, like seasonal light display and all of that kind of fancy stuff. Mary Jo just went down there and she said they did a really nice job with it, but definitely something that will probably be busy for the Thanksgiving week.
I'm going to wait till a foot of snow is on the ground where these Southerners can't drive, and we'll go them.
Take the war wagon.
We'll take the war wagon and just pretend not to see
them out of the
everyone
way.
in the ditches. We'll never get there if we have to winch everybody out.
No.
But our winch can do it.
Now that you found the remote.
Yeah.
That's silly to me that you needed a remote for that. Why wouldn't that be, of all of the million buttons that they put on the dash, why wouldn't they have a winch button?
Yeah. I don't know why they don't. Yeah, I love them too, Chris. It's like watching people lose their mind. You know, and that's when you just throw in a 4-wheel drive and like.
Only the trucks are out.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Except a lot of trucks down here are just
big
2-wheel drive.
Yep, that is true. All these really nice highway trucks. Like, why own a truck?
Steve Raleigh.
Why own a truck with 2-wheel drive? I don't get it.
Steve Raleigh.
Yeah. So, anyways, I mean, I'm feeling really good about, the trial. I think the jury did a great job. They probably knew right after closing arguments that he was innocent, and they had to put on a game face, and they probably were playing like Rummy 30,000 or something.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's take this to Friday, guys. Yeah. What are you going to do when you get out? We're going to go to Italian. What are you going to do?
You know what it did is it made it easier for people to be available for riots for the weekend.
Yeah, I almost wish they waited till Monday, so I would have time
or like do it midweek. I
mean, they didn't want to be accused of not being thorough, so they basically asked for everything they possibly could. I guarantee you, they like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, but yeah, so these poor. I mean, nothing's happened so far, and it's so funny. I mean, like, you can tell. I mean, everyone's saying, "Oh, phew, there's no riots and stuff," but these media vultures out there, they want chaos to cover. And we were watching the early coverage right out after the verdict was read, and all of the talking heads and stuff were just trying to fill airtime.
Yep.
In the same way, after there's an active shooter event and they have nothing to say because there's no details out yet. And there was like this little like hubbub on the steps of the courthouse, and they saw police movement, and they were like, "Oh, what's that? Can you get closer? What's going on?" And it was like someone was having a medical emergency.
Someone had a seizure.
They were just vultures. They just want violence. They want the chaos, and we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Pray it doesn't happen, but I'll be surprised.
All right, can you read Vic comment? It doesn't make sense from here.
I'm going to read it before I read it out loud to see if it makes sense.
So I'm seeing a nice Mexican flag being covered by the protesters because, yeah, Mexico is a model of justice. I'm already all set.
All right, Victor. That I don't understand that comment. It's not really relevant.
So
other than the last part that says the government is too big for certain
Yep.
issues. We'll read that part.
That's exactly what I was going to talk about, Michelle. I find it
that is
interesting.
going on right now,
I
isn't
find it
it?
interesting that we're going to cover this ad nauseum.
Mm.
Kyle Rittenhouse with all these cameras, and then Giselle, whatever you say, Maxwell's thing. We get a little crayon drawing, and it's closed to the press. So we can't find out everyone who is banging little girls and little boys on an island. The sickos. So we can't hear how many times
about that trial.
Bill was there, Hillary was there, all the powerful were there, and then they're keeping that closed to protect all these turds. It's disgusting. The justice system is disgusting. The powerful get away with everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for once, a kid who was more of a man than most of us for going out there into the streets to defend people, put it on the line, had to smoke 2 dudes and blow a guy's arm off. And he finally got justice by, 12 amazing jurors who were brave.
It'll be interesting if any of them speak.
Well, they should all write book deals and become millionaires. I'm hoping that Rittenhouse
I'm sure he
sues everyone into extinction.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them all go bankrupt. The fact that NBC got banned from the courtroom for following the jurors is pretty disgusting.
Well, I know they've been talking about that he potentially would even have a case against Biden.
Yep.
From Biden's comments.
How do you not taint a jury with
summer.
that? How do you not taint a jury when
it'll be interesting to see if they go for the big dog with any cases like that.
Yep. Disgusting. But let's talk about good things. Kyle's at home eating a steak tonight.
I know. I've been trying to picture. I mean, he's been home, so it's not like he's been, released from jail. So at least
he's totally
that's not different for him. But that relief, trying to picture how would you go home? I mean, I'm sure he's just exhausted.
Yep.
But yeah.
Well, hopefully, prayerfully reflects on this.
A happy home tonight, so good for them.
He could be a powerful voice for the Lord if he turns to the Lord on this, and uses his testimony for good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I know that he's exclusive on Tucker on Monday, so
that'll be the highest rated Tuckers, ever. Yeah.
Michelle said, "I hope Linwood reaches out to Kyle Rittenhouse. We know that Sandman has, so they're tied up together, I think." Victor says you can't trust government policy because of the new world we are in.
Exactly. You can't trust anybody anymore except for your people that you know.
Yeah.
Right? Your local politics. Get in there, get ingrained, know your people, know your sheriff, know your school boards, know everyone because they're part of your community.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's your job to hold them accountable for the rest of the country.
Yep. And then Michelle says he wants to be a nurse and has already been accepted to college.
Yeah.
I think that there's going to have to be probably a major shakeup in life plans. But if he moves forward with it, more power to him.
Yeah, I mean,
hopefully he chose a good college.
Hopefully he went to Liberty University where they'll give him an honor and an award when he walks through the door.
Yeah, most other places he would be hung out to dry day one.
But
good for him. It's a great day, but I agree that I think that people are like, America's back, and the tide's turning. And I think that's probably putting a little bit too much hope.
Yeah, probably.
In between like the Virginia election and things like that.
Well, that's what I'm telling all my friends in Virginia, not to get sucked down the Virginia's red thing. No, Virginia's blue. You guys get 2 years to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Because trust me, all the wokeists are gonna turn on you. They just got temporarily mad because someone told them they couldn't tell their kids, that they weren't in charge of
the
their
mama
kids.
bears were stirred in a different direction for one election. We'll see.
Ali, I can't read that from here. Can you?
AOUED.
So Ali, no, I haven't heard the newest news about Trump. I know that he's got a new social media thing. That's all I heard.
This is what happened to Linwood. He was one of Kyle's original attorneys. I don't know if he got all hung up in all of the Trump stuff and had to switch gears.
I don't
would
know.
Be my guess.
I all I know is he probably cost Georgia at least one seat. And I don't know who to trust anymore. I mean, Linwood might be the greatest dude on the planet, but he's been a lifelong Democrat, and
was he?
Yeah, and he came out pretty hard against some of the Republican candidates and telling people not to show this and that, cost us the Senate. So I'm not really sure what to think of him.
Yeah, all of those personalities that came out, really kind of right post-election.
And then
they've disappeared.
Yep. And then, you can only promise so much and predict so much and all this crap. And when you don't deliver on any of it, it doesn't really matter anymore.
Well, I would say that Kyle had the right team. All right, I think we're done reading his comments.
Yeah. Ali, you're smoking too much hookah, bro.
Have a nice night. God bless. All right. Chris says, I agree that Virginia is bad, but I'm going to stick out for the fight this time. Not sure we can win, but I'll try. Well,
yeah. Well, I mean, you're there. You get a nice place. You and your dad built an amazing place. You're federally retired, so you kind of are immune from a lot of the dictatorship there. But no way. Once you live in a truly free state like Tennessee or Texas or Florida.
Share the headline that you saw today about Tennessee with the copycat of DeSantis.
Oh yeah, so our governor is not a thought leader. He's a thought follower, and he is now welcoming all unvaccinated police officers from around the country to come to Tennessee and get a job with us.
Mm-hmm.
With, I think, sign-on bonuses and everything else. So he jumped on the DeSantis train, and now you can come live in the free country, in the free state, Tennessee as well.
Yeah, which we were talking after he saw that, and it's like it would be nice to have a governor who was willing to be the first to do something to stand up for what's right, but at least Governor Lee, when he piggybacks on something, when he kind of jumps on the follow train, it's been consistently with the right side.
Yeah.
He hasn't been swayed, it seems, to jump on any of the bandwagon for the stuff we wouldn't agree with. So that was good to see. Hopefully people take up on it.
I'm not a fan of Alabama. It's a really poor state. It's too hot for me, too flat, not enough natural beauty for me. It may be awesome for you. I lived in Panama City, Florida, which is considered lower Alabama for about 4 years. And it's just not for me, man. I like cool weather. I don't like hellacious hot. I wouldn't go to Louisiana, Mississippi, or Alabama for all the money in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Raleigh!
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Steve chimed in up top.
Yep. We need more governors to do that. Outstanding. Yep. They see which way the wind's blowing. Mm-hmm. They see how the country is shifting drastically to the right, and they're all trying to, ride on it. DeSantis is the real deal.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on in Texas. I don't know what to believe there, and who, I would love to see Alan West get that.
All right, so DM comment here from NBC Chicago. This is a direct attack on our democracy. Local Kenosha activists respond to Rittenhouse verdict. Democracy is mob rule.
Yeah, it shows how smart they are. And NBC's right there. If I was in Chicago, I probably wouldn't be talking about gun violence unless it was my own.
Yeah. It's
When
easier
you
to
guys
talk about
stop,
someone else's
when you guys don't
problems.
lead the nation in shootings every weekend, maybe you should fix your own
Don't take it
backyard
seriously.
and not worry about Kenosha. Just saying.
Yes, I was outside Huntsville, northwest part of the state this past summer. It was nice.
It's in the South and it's deep red. So,
hey, Brandy. I think this is the first time we've seen you tonight.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Colonel West got General Flynn's support. Forgot that. Yeah, so that is still going on because that's. Is that a next year election?
I think so. I think for the midterms.
Corey Baldwin.
What's up, Corey?
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
I just want to crank, some American music right now. I am a real American. Some old Hulk Hogan anthem songs. Fight for the rights of every man. That was some great stuff. Yeah. The Hulkster.
Okay.
You probably weren't even born yet.
So I know the songs.
Stayed overnight in Bristol, Tennessee. Loved it there too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dan, you come a little bit further south and east and get up in those mountains. You ain't ever gonna want to leave, brother.
We recommend it. USMC rapper music, cool stuff.
Yeah, I'm wondering how long till he has a where we both at
TMR. You're talking about.
Yeah, I've figured about TMR and how soon he was going to have a Kyle Rittenhouse tomorrow.
I'm sure it's on tap, ready to go.
Yeah, but he'll drop it. He'll have Bryson Topher and D-Cure on there. They'll all jump on that. So we'll see who's got the best track, I guess.
You want to contribute?
No, I'm not feeling passionate enough to rap about that. I rap about big things like you, Baby B, our turtles.
Oh, okay. So you guys didn't hear because this was yesterday in small group. So you guys know that we have Levy the snapping turtle who was free because I found him in the field. Jason decided that why have one snapping turtle when you can have two? And let's go big or go home and go get a cool one. So he just he snuck into the house. He bought this turtle without me knowing about it. It's an alligator snapping turtle. And he was sitting out here yesterday all excited, waiting for FedEx to drop off his live turtle. And he comes like creeping into the house, looking like a kid on Christmas, like, what did FedEx just drop off? And he was like, pulled it out. He's like, a turtle.
It's cool.
So we have another turtle. They are going to get a fancy new home tomorrow.
Yeah.
We are now. When I found this snapping turtle in the field, and he was like, "We're keeping it," and I was like, "We can keep it. We're not spending money on this turtle." And now turtle's gonna have they're hooked up. So he and Diana last night we're seeing because these two turtles. Levy is not.
We probably shouldn't talk about this.
Roommate. We haven't seen Levy this active since Levy's.
Levy's been a lump in a log. When we threw the new guy in there, he's like,
I'm like, are you sure that Levy wanted a roommate?
He's like, he starts chattering his mouth. And when he's like, wow. And this one's bigger than he is. This one's head is twice as big as Levy's. And he looks like pure dinosaur.
Yeah. Alligator snapping turtle. Yeah, look him up.
They are pure dinosaurs.
He's a baby. He's from this season, so he's like yay big. But so they came up with a song about having peace in the tank, and I won't make you sing it, but there was some passion in those lyrics.
There was. You gotta have.
And it was biblical because Jesus loves your neighbor.
Said, "Love your neighbor like you love yourself." Or how was it?
Jesus says, "Love your
Your
neighbor like you love yourself."
Yeah, so that we had a little freestyle, and then we went a little Broadway,
It was
performances. Wonderful. We mixed up tempo.
They were going for it, and there's been no bloodshed.
It worked.
I don't know what
it was very
what
soothing.
It would look like for a turtle fight, but
it was very soothing. The Peace in the Tank song was very soothing.
There
to
was
them.
still some posturing today, but I think they'll be okay.
Tomorrow they get their castle.
But the newcomer doesn't have a name yet.
Yeah, I kind of gave the cool name to the smaller turtle by accident.
Yeah, and we can't steal the name.
It was his biblical turtle rap, man.
Mm-hmm.
Turtle.
Well, it wasn't a rap.
It wasn't a rap. It was a biblical turtle
it was like a
song.
Broadway song.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah. Turtle power.
B loved it. B loved the song. So
I was entertained.
Yeah, I don't want to call him something bad, Michelle. So calling him Beast or Lucifer or Beelzebub or Baylor or Devil or Fiend.
I can't remember what. So you wanted to take Levy's name and name the new one Levy and name Levy
Kermit.
So our original our original turtle has been downgraded in hierarchy immediately. I need to go from Levy to Kermit.
Well, he's smaller. He looks friendlier outside that he's kind of a jerk.
It was his house. His house got crashed.
Ragnar. I like that. I like the Viking name. That's good.
So we're working on it.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to come up with something biblical and cool. I was going to name him Goliath, but Goliath was a bad guy who mocked Yahweh, and I ain't doing that. So, since I dreamed about Moses, I'm not going to name him Moses because when I meet Moses.
I said Joseph because that's who Jason calls the biblical badass. But
yeah.
He's like, I don't think any.
When I meet Joseph, I don't want to tell him I named my turtle over.
Want a snapping turtle.
Corey says Levy and Levy.
Levy and Levi?
Levy and Levi.
No.
Levy is short for Leviathan. So
Leviathan, that's what Levy is for.
That's what Levy's short for the small one. And then we got a better one. Anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
Yeah. So now if there's any scuffles in the tank, we know who's getting the boot. Poor old Levy getting thrown back out in the wild.
Peter the turtle. Anyway, I still got these stupid hiccups.
That's pretty impressive. So we'll let you know when the new turtle has a name.
I will have him named by Monday.
We'll share a video.
I will have him named by Monday, I promise. So for those of you who have not been attending the Thursday night small group, you're really missing out.
So I think there's some confusion on whether it's people who've been through the forging or not, which I think we have said that it's for people who've been through the forging. It is
for people who've been through the forging, but people can be grandfathered in who've been with us forever. And
so reach out if you want to be included.
Yep. And then that turtle poo stinks. Well, we'll have a filter that'll get all that stuff. Tobias the turtle. Oh, man. So here we go with the turtle names.
All right. Have at it, guys.
So, I was going to say, the other thing is you guys haven't seen is we've been doing a 7/15 Bible study Monday through Friday. And
Shay.
Yeah, but everyone's going to think it's Che Guevara or something like that and think of the communist. So I need something cooler.
You're getting warmer, Andrew.
I was thinking like Vlad the Impaler, the guy who kept the Turks from invading by, who they eventually, the big myth was he was a vampire and all that stuff. But again, a pretty dark dude, and I want this turtle to be a cool dude. So I'm like, I can't call Michael if I get up there and Angel Michael's up there. I'm like, dude, I named my turtle after you. And I don't think he'll be too cool with that.
Yeah, especially when we wouldn't name a kid after
Yeah.
after any of these people.
So what you're saying, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't want to do that. So I got to figure something out.
Well, we'll get there. We'll let you guys know. We'll do a video introducing the new the new family member.
So our
yeah,
turtle
talking about small
talk
group.
has driven away 7 people, just so you know. I don't blame you on a Friday night coming to talk about turtle talk, but
Turtle talk.
I'm going to go get him.
What?
I should go get him.
No,
I want to see him. You guys want to see him?
Okay. Tennessee time is Texas time. No, not where we are. We are still Eastern time zone, Michelle. So it's our 7:15-ish a.m. So it'd be your 6:15.
Andrew said, "Da."
Is that in agreement that he wants to see this?
Yep.
Turtle?
All right, I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him and contrast them.
Are you getting them both?
Yeah, I'll bring them both out.
Okay. So I can talk about this small group. Okay, so Tobias or Asher are the two suggestions. Okay. So Jason has been doing, we were planning on it just being kind of a me, Diana, and Jason thing originally, like in the mornings, spending our Bible time. And then Jason got a spontaneous idea to start live streaming and breaking down basically sentence by sentence as we're going through, or at least verse by verse, depending on the context of what's going on. So we're starting in Genesis. Oh, here we go. Okay.
So that is Levy. That little guy. He's the mean one. And that is the
Show him this the other side. Can you see the hook?
Yeah, a little hook nose.
The camera's not picking them up.
Yeah.
They're not happy.
They're not happy to be out of the cage, but
they immediately
about to come
do
this. Out. And Levy even looks pissed. He sees his buddy over here, and it's going to be bad. So I'm not going to turn this into a turtle pet show, but wanted to show you guys that this is what we're talking about, not monstrous big ones. So
they grow like an inch a year.
Yeah.
They're both, they're snapping turtles. Two different kinds. I'm not sure what the a common snapping turtle is the one that we found here, and then he special ordered a alligator snapping turtle after much research, as Jason tends to do. So we will let you know. I asked him what the plan was, that he bought a baby snapping turtle that will outlive all of us. What the inheritance plan is. So that hasn't been figured out yet. When I was growing up, I was given the pets that die within 3 years, so we never had to deal with that. About the inheritance plan for these turtles that will outlive you.
They are wicked cool, man. They're snapping turtles. Yeah, they're so cool. A snapping turtle and an alligator snapper. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, we're gonna have to like will these.
Who's the lucky winner who wants a snapping turtle?
Well, when we put our water,
I can't remember. Do they cap out? I know we didn't want to continue talking about turtles. They grow an inch a year, and are they like some other species that just don't stop?
No, the common ones stop at like 35 pounds.
Okay. What about the alligator ones?
They can go up over 100, 150
pounds.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
No. Just think of how old they have to be when they grow an inch a year.
This is a big commitment. These kids will have this.
Yeah, they'll have Godzilla.
Oh my God. And poor B, she's like, I want to touch it. And no.
Not yet. We got to figure out what their temperament is. Right now, it's pretty mellow.
Yeah. guess now would be the time for them to get used to it. Okay, anyways. So we were talking about your Bible study. So I was telling them that you had started at Genesis,
One of the most important books.
and that you kind of spontaneously decided to do a live stream.
Yeah, that was a
break
little
it down.
intimidating.
And so he's doing a great job. We're 3 days in now? 3 days in, right? Because we started on Tuesday.
Yeah, it's a prepper supply. If we get a 150-pound turtle, that'll feed us for a while. But anyways, yeah. So we started at Genesis 1:1, obviously, and it, as an atheist, Genesis is a massive stumbling block for any science-based person.
Mm.
Secularism tries to destroy Christianity's foundations in the first page, first line, first paragraph, first chapter, and the whole thing. So being able to speak intelligently about that is a must.
And I have to admit that is a section, because even as an atheist, that's one of like the stories from the Bible that you hear. Like you know that there's this story. You don't believe it, but there's this story about Adam and Eve and an apple and a snake in the garden, all that stuff. So I have to admit that I have never really carefully read, kind of line for line, word by word, analyzed all of the complexities of
there is so much in
those
Genesis
sentences. And so, we've heard kind of Ken break it down, but I think, you're coming up with some new ways to look at some stuff and some new points to add in. And so, yeah, there's so much more there than most people give it credit. And it's been like, I never stopped to think about what light is he talking about, because it was day 4 for the sun and the moon. I think I probably just, saw the word light and was like, okay, the sun's there, so it's, I haven't put that much thought process to it. So it's been good.
It's really important when we're talking about the Bible that we don't say things that we don't know to be true. Mm-hmm. We can have our opinions, we can have our beliefs, but you can't tell me that the earth is guaranteed this year's old when you weren't there.
Right.
And you don't have any supporting evidence behind that.
Right. So it's one of those things, in the same way that kind of on the other end of the Bible, you've been talking about pre-trib, post-trib, all that stuff, and saying it's having a belief one way or the other is not going to determine you getting into hell or heaven or not, or make you a false teacher.
Yeah.
It's one of those parts of the Bible that you have to just acknowledge that there is not enough detail in the words in the page to say definitively, compared to how we can say that about some other things.
So I take the Bible to be true, but I think men can misconstrue it. And, I believe God when he says it was, that he built it all in 7 days or 6 days and rested on the 7th. I just don't think there's 7 of our days, being that the sun and the moon, which is how we measure time, wasn't even created until the 4th day.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. I know that you talked about this with Joel on Wednesday, and he's a 24-hour.
Yeah, but he didn't have anything to defend that. He had no pushback.
Yeah.
It was just, I'm just going to believe this because, God can do anything. And I go, well, God does fantastic things within science all the time.
And there's a line in the Bible, I'm not going to be able to quote word or verse or anything like that, about a day is as is a day is 1,000 years. Like, what is that?
A day is 1,000 years to the Lord.
Yeah. So, I mean,
or a day of the Lord is as 1,000 years from man. So
I mean, can you take that and use that as an argument?
You can. And I just, I look at how we gauge time, and I think God gave us the correct model for time. It's how our earth rotates around in a circle, right? Mm-hmm. Just like when God created hands, wings, and fins, he used the same design to do all of them within reason, right? So as we rotate around, it goes light, dark, right? And then as we go around the sun, it's 1 year, right? Mm-hmm. So imagine that we're here and God lives in the third heaven, right? So when the Old Testament writers were talking about heavens, there's the sky. Then there's the second heaven, which is the stars.
Mhm.
And then beyond that is heaven. So
Yeah.
whatever's beyond the universe,
Can't-
right?
Yeah.
How big is that? How long does it take us and everything else to revolve around that? Or whatever time they use, whatever God is evolving around to measure time. It's just so unknowable.
Yeah.
And I'm okay saying it's unknowable, but we do untold damage and again, I understand that the technology for dating is a theory. I don't know if it's 100% accurate.
Mhm.
I've spoken to a scientist who said that it was all based on theory and it was all mixed match. And he was a young Earth guy, Ken Graves' disciple as well. And what I'm saying is our salvation is not in jeopardy. We need to, when we're talking about things like this and other things, instead of calling everyone heretics, let's just say, we don't know. I believe this. You can believe that, and it doesn't matter.
Yep. And
I'm not saying the Bible isn't inerrant. I'm saying you have an errant understanding of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is the same thing that happens all over the Bible. And, when we get into Eve, Ken Graves just really opened my eyes to that. He's the only one I've ever heard get the Adam and Eve, the fall right, in my opinion.
Yeah, the way that he explained.
I'm not saying he's the only one. He's the only one
process.
I have personally heard.
Yeah. And again, it's kind of the terms right or wrong, but his interpretation, his explanation for the thought process that night, Christopher, that Adam might be having
God bless you, Chris.
Is the explanation that landed the best on you.
Yeah, it's just I know people,
Mhm.
right? And men have a desire to rescue,
Mhm.
an overwhelming drive to rescue, particularly women. And Adam was getting nookie. He knew Eve,
Mhm.
right? And this person who was giving him the most pleasure on planet Earth that he'd ever known,
Mhm.
it is now doomed.
Mhm.
So I think we can get into that, but I think he jumped on that boat, that grenade. That's the way I read it.
Yeah.
He said, the woman that you gave me gave it to me, and I did eat because he knew that she was dying.
Yeah.
He wanted to go with her.
Yeah.
And God got pissed because he chose her over him.
Mhm.
Like Adam wasn't deceived.
It was deliberate.
Yeah. Exactly. God bless Kyle is right.
Welcome.
Bitcoin is a scam. I agree with you.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
So the Bible never says that Adam was deceived. It's only Eve was deceived.
Yeah, and another, because we're getting into, we haven't quite reached that. That'll be tomorrow. On
no, we're not doing it on the weekends. We'll do it on Monday.
We'll get into it on Monday. The deception of the whole Eve eats the apple thing, but I hadn't even ever really processed, like, she wasn't even named. She was
wife
until after, and Adam gave her the name.
Mm-hmm.
It was just an interesting.
She was blood of my blood and bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone.
Tannin is a Hebrew word that may be a good name for the new turtle. What does it mean?
What does it mean? It's got to mean something. What are you trying to sneak on me there, Corey?
Tannin.
Man who has hiccups on a show. That's what it probably means.
Tannin. The sound of tannin.
I like that as a boy's name. That's pretty cool.
I was gonna say, I've met a tanner, but I haven't met a tannin. Crocodile. Tannin means crocodile.
Oh, very cool.
What does alligator?
Well, crocodiles are way cooler than alligators. Okay. They're way more aggressive, way more deadly.
So we would have an alligator turtle named Crocodile?
Yeah.
That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I think we should go with something fluffy.
We'll have to.
Yeah.
Tannin will be in
We'll do reverse
consideration
psychology.
for-
If people walk in, we're like, who's that killer? Well, that's just going to reinforce it. Who's that fluffy bunny?
So he can be the one that you wanted to switch Levy to.
Whatever. We'll figure it out. Bitcoin, the new Jeep has that backwards flag. I don't get it. I don't know what you're talking about there. I don't own a Jeep.
Are you referring to this backwards flag, or because you can explain that, right?
Yeah. So.
But yeah. So and then so today we were in the reading today. You incorporated talking about. Do you want to answer that question, and then we can continue?
Yeah, the backwards flag is where we wear it on a uniform when you're in the military because you're charging into battle and it's flying that way because you're running into battle. So there's the lore behind the U.S. flag on people's uniforms. Got?
I think that's a great explanation.
Yep. So what was
so we were talking about Genesis, and you incorporated talking about intimacy and man and woman and kind of all that stuff that I've never heard being incorporated into the Genesis discussion before, which I don't know if you want to dive into your thought process on that.
Well, it's the first time it's ever been invented, so we have to talk about it, right? So Genesis is the first. It's the first, right? It's the first of everything. So it's the first marriage. It's the first sex. It's the first guy, girl. It's the way that we are forced to live to this day. So it's the foundations upon everything that was built, that where God built everything by design.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I'm not going to judge God, but unfortunately, we were all born to be vegans, right? Carnivores were vegans. We were all eating fruit from trees and vegetables, and there was no death.
Yeah.
And the fall changed all of that. And then in the book of Isaiah, it talks about it all going back in the end.
Right.
So I'm going to eat as much steak as I can on this earth. Because if I'm going to go to heaven and eat green stuff, I'm going to be a little bummed. But I'm sure when I'm up there, I won't care.
So disappointed in.
I mean, I'm sure it'll be manna or whatever, and we'll be all happy with it. And we'll be drinking wine, right? And then all those Christians who are like, "Don't drink wine," are going to have to address that with Jesus.
I think everyone.
And I'll be like, "Thank you, my Lord."
Yeah. I'm not sure anybody's conversations are going to go quite as they like to forecast when it actually comes time to, God willing, be in heaven.
I am joking. I don't think I'm going to be like, "What's up, Jesus? What's up, Lord?" I don't think it's going to be like that. I think I'm going to fall on my face and weep my eyes out.
Yeah.
Because one, I got to heaven, and I don't deserve it, and I got to heaven. And two, there's the most noble, good, loving being of all eternity in front of me, like so beyond me. So yeah, all this comedy and this and that and what you're seeing now is obviously not how I'm going to act when I get there. I'm not one of those guys who calls Jesus my buddy. I don't elevate my status to his.
Right.
I've been around very powerful people, and by orbiting in their orbit and talking to them and going on a first name basis, you make them your equal. I am not doing that with Jesus Christ.
No.
Period.
Yeah.
I know that psychology game. I
friend.
understand man's nature to want to do that. No. Jesus, me.
So, I mean, there's so much. I mean, this is kind of a pivot in the conversation, but there is woven in sermons and songs and all that stuff. It's that Jesus is your friend. Do you ascribe to that in any way? Jesus is your friend, or do you discard that completely and put a different kind of label on his relationship to you?
I think if you have that relationship with Jesus, he's your friend. Hey, Troy, good to see you, my friend.
Troy.
Good to see you.
Strength and honor.
Strength
to
and
you.
honor to Troy.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
We'll definitely say a prayer for you and DM tonight, battling separate issues.
Mm.
I don't think that's clear either. I think that would be assumed. I think that he made them to be a helper. He called her wife immediately. You only become a wife once you. So that's how you consummate and become a wife. There is no ceremony. So if it's husband and wife before then, they sure as heck were, in my opinion. Now, and so that's my thought on that. I could be wrong. That's just my opinion. I'm not one of those guys who's going to sit there and call you a heretic for saying that. But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much time passed either.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's a lot of.
I mean, was it years? Was it months? Was it days? Was it hours?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So
I'm trying to think back to the language. I mean, there was like the one flesh reference, right?
Well, that's the first thing he says after God gives it to him.
And I know that in talking about intimacy with husband and wife, it's the two become one. Kind of the rejoining of the flesh that was separated in the Garden of Eden. So when that's brought up, you kind of assume that that's happening.
Sorry, I was trying to find this. Can you say that again?
No, it was a pondering question, not something you had to answer.
So, I mean, the other thing is we never hear God telling Eve not to eat of the fruit of good and evil. We hear him telling Adam that.
So Andrew says if they didn't have sex, then it should be the first sin of disobedience.
Good point.
Since the Lord gave them a command to be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah, that's in verse 28.
Mm-hmm.
So
relatively safe assumption that it is happening. Although it's interesting that the first conception didn't happen until after. As far as, right? I mean...
Yeah, but that takes for...
That doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Right.
But there's a lot of begatting in... it seems like there's a lot of begatting quite easily throughout the Old Testament.
Well, the whole concept of a seed in DNA is so mind-blowingly incredible.
Mm-hmm.
That things like the whole random chaos thing.
Yeah.
Right? How come trees give birth to the other trees? Dogs give birth to the same kind of dogs.
Right.
Everything stays in kind.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And, when you look at the DNA coding to make a person, I mean, that's a language.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Right? It's a language. So if it's a language, there's a speaker of that language.
Yeah, I think it's been compared in scale to looking at kind of everything that's accomplished with computers are ones and twos, right? And
Yes.
And DNA is so much more than that.
Yes.
And think of everything that a computer can accomplish with just ones and twos.
So you're right. God held Adam because Adam chose.
Well, that's the first. I mean, in the way that he is the leader of their family, he is the husband, he is the man.
Well, and he partook. It wasn't just Eve who ate; he ate as well.
Mm-hmm.
And God's the one who told him. I mean, he tells him right there in Genesis 1. You can eat of anything from on here, but not eat of the tree of good and evil, because you should be surely the day you eat of it, you shall surely die. And then it doesn't ever talk about God saying that directly to Eve. So you figure Adam told her not to.
Yeah, so
this is her first EBC moment, defying her husband, and the snake is saying, God didn't say that.
Or can you say Adam failed as a leader?
Well, Adam told her, but what's he going to do? Shackle her to his side? right? So notice that,
Yeah, it's a DM that kind of is reflecting what
right? So
Jason's saying.
notice what get to it. So first Adam said, this at last is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh, and she shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. That's, I've heard Gordon Hugenberger talk about that in his series where he was talking about that's an oath. But the serpent said, so now the serpent was more crafty than any other beast in the field, and the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, did God actually say, you shall not eat of any tree of the garden? Notice what he's attacking there. He's attacking what Adam told her.
Mm.
Like, did God really say that? Or is that your husband telling you to say that? That's some of the implication you can see in
Yeah,
there.
because if she had heard it firsthand,
From God, she would be like, yes, he really
yes.
said that.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. And that's, men and women have been battling ever since.
Yeah.
We have a saying in this house and in this community, the PCM family, EBC, Eves be crazy. And that's a fact.
Undisputed.
No, but he told her DM, right? Because she knew, because she recited it to Satan, but the thing is what Satan brought in for the questioning was, did God really say that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the quote here. Did God actually say, you shall not eat of any tree in the garden? And the woman said to the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the tree in the garden. But God said, you shall not eat of the fruit of the tree that is in the midst of the garden, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. But the serpent said to the woman, you will not surely die, for God knows that when you eat it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good from evil. So when the woman saw the tree was good for food, and that it was a delight to the eyes, that the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took of its fruit, ate it, and she also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate. Now the eyes of both were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves loincloths. Now, the question is, what is Adam doing during this whole conversation? Because it says he was with them. Now I haven't looked at the Blue Letter Bible. I haven't gone back to the original Hebrew. I'd like to know what that word with, what they chose for that. Does it really mean with, or was he nearby?
Yeah.
Or, what was that? Was he there for that conversation and he let his wife do this? Then the onus goes back on him.
Yeah, that's an interesting point to catch.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it. I just want to know. I just want to follow the truth. My goal is not to mislead, is to ask the questions so that we know we're standing in truth. So when we come across our atheist friends and they try to sit there and say, well, we can prove that the earth is X billions of years old, and all you Christians say it's 10,000 years old, and that's not true.
Yeah.
So the whole inerrancy of the Bible that you claim is already wrong.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up the other word that stood out. I think it's in the reading that we haven't completed yet.
So if you go into, Blue Letter Bible, or if you're into Logos, which I am, I'm just not very good with it yet.
Well, okay. I have what I was trying to find here.
Okay, go ahead while I'm doing this.
Okay, so this is in Genesis 3:16. So in God kind of telling them now what their consequences are. To the woman, he said, I will make your pains in childbearing very severe. With painful labor, you will give birth to children. Your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you. And that's the NIV version, which is the Bible that I had this morning. And it's so interesting. Unless you read the footnotes to explain, and his changes the word desire right in the actual text.
Yep.
So that you don't have to go to the footnotes. But if I would just read that without looking into it, your
That's
desire.
That's why NIV is bad news.
That sounds good. Your desire will be for your husband. That's a good thing. But then the footnotes go into that is a Hebrew word that kind of based on the other ways that it's used, it's basically kind of wanting to conquer or control. And so it's really that, you were wanting to control or conquer your husband. And so how much of a different meaning is that?
Completely different.
Especially kind of with how we understand the word desire now. So that's another part that I've skimmed over in the past, especially reading this version, the NIV version. Your desire will be for your husband. Oh, that's great. Nope. But
Right.
that right there does explain why women have a hard time being submissive, why, if you don't understand kind of what you're called to be in biblical marriage roles, why you are constantly butting heads with your husband as the leader, because God said right there, day one on the fall, that you're trying to control and therefore be at odds with your husband.
So what I'm getting was the original, with Hebrew and all that stuff was with her. What does that mean?
Nothing there.
The fact that Adam didn't speak up during it at all makes me think that he was in the vicinity.
I want to see. Let's see.
So let's see here. It was Adam's fault because he knew what God said. Exactly, but it wasn't, so what I believe happened, DM, there was is that Adam knew that when Eve ate it, that she was going to die. And whatever fate was going to befall her, I believe he was going to do it as well, following her.
It's possible. It says she also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. It's possible that there is a gap of time between her conversation
with the serpent,
and then when the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye, she took some and ate it, gave some to her husband who was with her, instead of it saying was with them.
Right. The other thing, and let's go further down to where God confronts Adam.
But continue on with that. But even if it was just her, if this was post conversation with the snake, if he was with her when she made the determination that she was going to go for it, he would have been privy to the process of picking it from the tree, and potentially had the chance.
I mean, then the other thing was Adam duped? Right. Because you can go in here and say, he said, who told you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree which I commanded you not to eat? The man said, the woman who you gave to be with me, she gave me fruit of the tree and I ate. I mean, did he recognize that it was that?
I think you're right to key in on this. He was with her part.
Right. So again,
unless he was like totally distracted by something. I mean, if you kind of have to take it at face value on the with her, would imply being aware of her.
Yeah. I mean, again, I mean, maybe we're getting too analytical on this, but, Adam, yeah, I don't know if that was the point, though, Troy. I mean, obviously, God came in after they both had done it because he had directly told Adam not to eat it, and Adam ate it.
So the man is so important to the family. Did anyone notice that their sin was not revealed until Adam ate?
Yeah, I just think that, with free will, they were both given a chance. I just don't know if Adam was duped or if Adam was literally there for the whole conversation with the serpent and he didn't step in to protect his wife and he didn't defend it, at which point then I would say that Ken is wrong and that, everyone else who reads this simply as 1 + 1 is 2 would have the gist of it, because there's Adam watching Eve talk to a snake
and he threw under the bus.
He does, and well, not that he threw under the bus, he didn't stop her.
Yeah, but
he's not in the conversation, which doesn't make sense to me.
Right. Well, I think you can separate out potentially on the whether or not he was there for the conversation. If he was there and watched her go for like through the action of picking it up to putting it to mouth. You know, if
Right.
he was even there for that, why wouldn't he have stopped her then?
Well, because it's hard to stop Eve from doing anything they want to do.
So true.
You know, not to mention
Poor men.
they seem to be really good at stopping us from what we want to do. But, you know, that's a topic for another day.
Isn't it? We don't have time in this podcast. So Dan says the rapid succession of Eve eating the fruit and then Adam right after seems to imply Adam was with her when she was duped.
All right. So
I think it's pretty clear that he was with her when she took that first bite. So why he wouldn't have stopped her up to that, but it's less clear as to whether he was present for the conversation with the snake.
See, and again, look at this. Go down to verse 13, right? The man said, "The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me fruit of the tree and I ate." And the Lord said to the woman, right? "What is this you have done?" The woman said, the serpent deceived me and I ate. The serpent didn't say the serpent deceived me, us, deceived her. She brought the fruit, gave it to Adam.
My pondering would be that those are two separate moments in time.
I agree.
Based on the language of with her versus with them. I think that there was a space of time after the conversation of Eve with the serpent, but it does also seem clear that Adam was with her when she did the action. So it's where was he mentally,
right,
in the action of when she went to pick it and initiate that.
And John MacArthur's notes, right? You have good delight to be desired, 3:6. She decided that Satan was telling the truth and she had misunderstood God, but she didn't know what she didn't know what she was doing. It was not overt rebellion against God, but seduction and deception to make her believe that it was the right thing to do. Right? The New Testament confirms that Eve was deceived, right? Tricked into eating it. He ate, a direct transgression without deception. See notes on Timothy. So they're trying to say that Eve was deceived and then Adam wasn't when he did it. And I think that's where Ken gets it right, is Eve was tricked by the serpent, ate it, now she's going to die, and Adam does it willfully.
Yeah.
Or Adam is deceived and it's totally...
So Andrew says, it does not matter much whether Adam was present or not. They both equally sinned, though the word says Eve was deceived, not Adam.
Exactly. So Eve was deceived and Adam was Adam just given the apple and he's like, hey, this is that? Or did Eve come back and say, wow, I ate this and I know everything. Try this.
But he was with her.
At that point, right, where she's got the fruit. She's with him and says, hey, again, we're adding to the conversation we don't know.
Yeah.
I just, to oversimplify this, 1 Timothy 2:14, right?
And then when McCoy deserves that second button down. This one? Am I going to hit the right one?
Yeah.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Adam was curious. Eve was deceived, perhaps. So I think the kind of the ultimate on the point of analyzing this is, does it change how we interpret the lessons from it? Kind of what responsibilities on Adam versus Eve and all of that, and where that matters in the bigger picture.
Adam was not deceived by the serpent, and he wasn't deceived from his wife. That doesn't mean that he didn't eat a piece of fruit, not know it, or didn't make a wrongfully noble decision to follow his wife with whatever she had. Mm-hmm. Again, it's equal sin. It doesn't matter. I just think it's pretty interesting when you start actually looking at, we call the Bible a minimalist text,
but there's so much.
But it's so complex
Yeah.
and the implications and the timing of everything. Again, when God says, let there be light, what's he talking about? When we don't have a sun and the moon formed until day 4.
Right.
What light is he using? Is it God himself? Like again, Moses came back from seeing with God and glowed because he had taken on he had been around his holiness.
Yeah, it's all stuff that's so easy to read.
Was
Scan over.
let there be light, the Big Bang? Who knows? I don't think we can know, but I think it's really awesome and interesting to discuss these things.
Mhm.
It's not a salvation issue.
No, it's a can we get any more?
Wimblow McCoy, where does it say that Adam was curious?
He said perhaps.
Well, Adam was curious. He was perhaps at the end, yeah. Possibly. I don't get that. I think that if he was deceived, God would have told him he was deceived. I think he was pissed at Adam because Adam legitimately, if it was so, like if Adam was not tricked by Eve, right, to, hey, have this, which would be a reason why not to allow women pastors, just saying, would be, a reason for, I can't remember. I was so much circular logic spiraling all the way around.
Yeah.
But I think that he could have legitimately jumped on the grenade with his wife.
Yeah. Change translations.
So, I was looking at the original Hebrew in here. So let me go back down.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know. And Andrew, if you have any other thoughts on it. So for anyone, Andrew in chat here was a pastor in Russia for 20 years. So he's got a deep bench of time in the word and his experience and thought process on all this.
So here we go again. This drives more to this point. You go down to 3:17. And to Adam he said, because you have listened to the voice of your wife and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground. So Eve convinced him to.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have any thoughts on that? My hiccups are gone. Yeah, I got passionate.
Ooh, that's the key. All right. Jason doesn't need to drink water. He needs to
get in the Lord. I got in the word.
Lord. I got in the
miracle time. Miracle. Jesus came through and cured those hiccups. I had a demon of, I had a,
he was letting her lead. So the sin of not leading your family. Yeah.
Yep.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
This is for the Lord healing your hiccups.
So anyways, yeah, well, and then God continues to reinforce the strife between us with EBC for eternity.
Your punishment.
Yeah, our punishment for
your
eternity.
Punishment for lack of leadership from
our punishment. So this is why everyone whose house is run by their wife instead of the husband is absolutely miserable. I've never seen a happy house run by a wife. All the men, it's all out of dysfunction. The kids are a disaster. It is. It's not that a woman couldn't do it without the man. It's just that when they're both in there and the man goes into that subservient role, it upsets the balance that God has created.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to read that?
So Corey says, from the little we know about the story of Adam and Eve, one point seems clear. Adam was told not to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, Gen 2:17, and he did, 3:6. This was an act of disobedience.
I'm not disagreeing with that, Corey. What I'm trying to say is, what was his motivation behind that?
Well, and you were trying to ascertain on whether Eve tricked him, and that he didn't know that he was eating of it, but it doesn't seem like that was the case.
Thanks, Mike. I really appreciate it. Yeah, if you guys could really hit the like button, that would help us a lot. I appreciate it.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
So again, let's go back to Genesis 1:1.
Tan says, in the New Testament, Jesus says, hate your wife, family, etc. If Adam did this, he would have chosen God over his wife.
Well, that's why when I remember I came to absolutely DM. So that's why I came to Ken in a panic one night, and I said, Ken, I don't think I can be a Christian. I'm not going to be a very good Christian. I can't be a leader. I can't be anything. I love my wife so much more than I love God. And he's like, Jay.
Yay.
There's multiple facets to love, Jay. There's the emotional love, and then there's the deliberate love, or however he described it. And, I sat around, I meditated on that and chewed on that for a while. And I thought to myself, if Lauren told me to do something evil against God, I wouldn't do it. Why? Because I'm accountable to God, even though I love my wife, which means that I love my wife more than I love God more than my wife, right? I respect God more than, the perfect being more than the flawed being of my wife. I love my wife most on earth, but I am accountable to God, and that love / respect is, and fear of the Lord is really important. So can you let me pull that up.
Which
Hate your wife first. I want to pull that up. Luke. Okay.
I'm going to read that.
Where is it?
If anyone come to me and does not hate his own father and mother and wife and children and brothers and sisters, yes, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple.
Yeah, I'd like to see what the word hate is there. So actually, let me look here.
Yeah, it almost seems like it's like the hate the sin of his own father and mother and his wife and his children and brothers and sisters. Because, yeah, I mean, without any context to the word hate, yeah, that comes off. That's a hard one to wrap your mind around. So what is this app? Can you tell people what app you're using as far as?
The Blue Letter Bible.
And so that allows you to look up specific words in Hebrew?
Yep. This one is in ancient Greek. Okay. So here, it goes to Strong's G3404, Miseo.
Night, Troy, feel better.
It even gives you how to say it. Miseo is a verb from a primary mesos, hatred. Outline of biblical uses: to hate, pursue with hatred, detest, to be hated, detested. Yeah, that's an interesting. Here it goes. Luke, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his own father, mother, and wife, and children,
Luke
and brothers, and Luke 14:26, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. So that's one of those things that when Jesus says that, you're like, holy smokes, but we're called to love our neighbor as ourselves. We're called to love our wives as Christ loved the church. So again, it's got to be in context. And that's one of those. All right. Hey, let's pray for Troy. I hope he's still here. I don't know if he dropped off.
That was a couple of minutes ago.
Okay. He's probably gone. we'll pray for him at the end then, since he's already gone. If he's already gone, Troy, if you're still here, we'd be happy to do it.
So this says hate. A similar statement in Matthew 10:37 is the key to understanding this difficult command. The hatred called for here is actually a lesser love. Jesus was calling his disciples to cultivate such a devotion to him that their attachment to everything else, including their own lives, would seem like hatred by comparison. See Luke 16:13 and Genesis 29:30 and 31 for similar usages of the word hate.
Now that makes sense to me, right? And I've actually heard Ken say that same thing, that it's in contrast to what your love would be for Christ, right? So again, it comes down to that.
Yeah.
Yes, you're supposed to love the Lord more than anything.
Including
Exactly,
yourself.
Brandy.
Yes, yeah.
Including
You're supposed to die to yourself.
Right. So I had a thought, but it's gone.
Hate.
Well, I think you answered the question. It's just one of those things where when I encounter something that I can't wrap my mind around, I'll go to R.C. Sproul's or, or Paul Washer or Vodi Bakum or John Piper, and I'll go to the people who've been studying this for 40, 50 years to get some help, and then I'll see if what I think they are saying makes sense or not. And sometimes it makes sense and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
So, again, very challenging word, but that's in scale. But again, when Jesus uses a word like hate, that's pretty hardcore.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my thought wouldn't be like, oh, it really means just love less.
Yeah.
Why not say love less?
Well, that's where I wonder where John MacArthur got that.
Well, he gave reference to several other verses that might include that word with a little bit more context in it that then you can carry over and apply. So you'd have to go to those other ones that he referenced. John!
What's up, John?
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
You're just in time.
Where you been, friend?
Yeah, we haven't seen Claudia on here either.
Date night at the Farace
It
house?
appears all the Faraces are on dates tonight.
And we'll leave it there.
Yep. I don't know what else to say.
We've been having an interesting conversation about Genesis and Adam and Eve.
So, I really dig this stuff. I really dig this stuff because, you were a scientist.
Date night. Good for you guys.
Good for you.
You deserve it.
So you were a scientist. I dug science, the origin of all things. After believing that this book was a book of fiction for so long, to be able to look in here and to see the science, to see the very practices that Moses was telling them to do was what kept them alive from having infection.
But God was telling them to do. Yeah.
God was telling Moses to do, and so on and so forth. That they were doing things that were against microbes and bacteria before those things they knew, even though they knew those things existed.
Yeah.
That's the things in here that just totally blow me away. But again, the whole light conundrum, the whole sun and moon being made on day 4, how people age to 800 years old, all those things, having an explanation for those and not being exposed to that in secular schools is such a disservice.
Yeah.
I just think of what God knows what I would have became if I had been turned on to creationism sooner, instead of empty, secularism.
God's perfect timing. I think that although that obviously there's a lot in your story you wish you didn't have in your testimony is what is making you the unique pastor that you are today.
I noticed,
unique and powerful pastor.
Well, thank you. I don't know about that title, but
you notice what?
That you've been throwing that title around a lot.
I mean, you're Pastor Perry.
Well, thanks.
I have a certificate that says so.
That's the state of Tennessee. There has been no knighting ceremony. I thought it was going to be cool. I thought a bunch of dudes in full armor were going to come down and
we have a sword around here. I can bring you up to the cross. You wouldn't want me to do it. You'd want would you want to knight you?
Oh, it would be Ken.
Ken to knight you.
Ken, Joel, Paul. Travis. Everyone who's played a role in my walk. I'd love to have them around to do that, but it's all good.
All right.
Since you're my, bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, I'll take it.
I'll do my best to not cut anything while I want.
You're not the most coordinated. Maybe we should
it's a heavy sword. How'd you decapitate your husband? I was trying to knight him. That wouldn't go well.
Yeah, praise Jesus.
Let's come up with someone else.
What's up, Seth? Welcome.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
But no, you guys should really try and join us on Sunday. Isn't Jesus considered light? Is that what God created in the beginning, separating Jesus from darkness? Something to think about. Well, in Genesis is also in the creation of man and woman, or man. Let us make him in our image.
Well, so there's a reference to spirit.
All right, the spirit was over the water. God's spirit was over the water. Yeah. So but then there's let us.
But the us could be him in spirit,
or him in Jesus.
If he's trying, this.
Well, at that point, but then when you go later and you go into John, he was with the Lord. He was God. He was the Word since the beginning. All things were made through him. Et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So again, that's the introduction. The first mention of the Trinity is it starts with the Spirit on. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Okay, so that's Genesis, 1. And then
Dan says the reference to us comes after the light.
It comes, that comes from man with us, which is after light, because light is the first thing God says, let there be light. And there was light, and God saw the light was good. And God separated the light from darkness, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was an evening, and there was a morning, and the first day. So would that
potentially go against that theory that Dan had on he called the light day and the dark night? So
I believe so. I don't see the connection that Dan is seeing there. Yeah, that's not what I'm pulling from that.
Yeah.
So again, it's God said, "Let there be." So it's all let the waters, let the earth, and God saw then here it is. 26, then God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish and over the birds and et cetera, et cetera. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish and sea and over that. So, just to see Jesus mentioned even back there is just so cool. And that's why when I first started this journey, before I thought I could do this, because I remember there were times when you're just spaced out reading the Bible, when you're trudging through it, you're not chewing on it.
Yeah.
You're speed reading to get by the page to get through your assignment. Yeah. Right. And you don't even digest what you read.
Yeah.
Like Chris, who reads the thing, he's like, holy smokes, I never realized he said us before. He's like, I've read the Bible countless times and there's us standing on it.
Yeah.
So there are times where I've read something where I'm just like, I have no idea where these pastors are pulling this from.
Yeah.
Like, you get into some of the harder passages, like I do, what as a beginner in this, tackling the hatred thing is not something I would have to do months of work researching that before I felt responsible enough to even talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And away from authority from a pulpit.
So Dan says, darkness was over the water with the Spirit. Then there was light.
So now you're calling Jesus darkness as well, or you're saying that dark because there was no light yet, everything was dark. And then the Spirit was hovering there, and then God said, "Let there be night or light, and we'll call it day."
DM says, I was taught that the sun was made the day after the vegetation.
Yeah, it's day 4, I believe. So here, we'll go through the whole thing. Let's just do that and get done. And then we'll wrap up.
Yeah.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and the darkness was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good. And God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. He didn't call the light Jesus or anything else. He called it day. And there was evening and there was morning in the first day. And God said, "Let there be expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters." And God made the expanse and separated the waters that were under the expanse from the waters and that were above the expanse, and it was so. And God called the expanse heaven, and there was an evening and there was a morning and a second day. And God said to the waters under the heavens, "Be gathered together." And then remember, we're talking about 3 heavens. The first heaven being the sky, second heaven being space, third heaven being that. Is there something challenging?
Well, DM said, so I'll read the first comment again. I was taught that the sun was made the day after the vegetation, which kills the 1,000-year day theory.
I don't know how that does that,
How would
DM.
that kill that?
Because and I'd be happy to talk to you about that. And God said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together in one place, and let dry land appear." And it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the waters that were gathered together were called seas. And God saw it, and it was good. Now God said, "Let the earth sprout vegetation, plants yielding seed, and trees bearing fruit, which is their seed, each according to its kind on the earth." And it was so. The earth brought forth vegetation, plants yielding seed according to their own kinds, the trees bearing fruit, which is their seed, each according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening and there was morning on the third day. All right. So now you have things growing, you have things doing all kinds of stuff already, right? And life cycles of these plants, meaning that trees are bearing fruit, seeds are falling to the ground, all doing this, and there's still no sun.
So I think that's what he's saying, that you need the sun for all of those.
But there's already light and there's already day.
Right.
If there's already light and day before the sun and the moon has started, it can't be our day and night. It's got to be something else that's causing that.
Right.
He's got to be referring to something, because now he gets to it. All right, so now it goes to and God said, "Let there be lights in the expanse in the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be in lights in the expanse of heavens to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And God made the 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars. And God set them in the expanse of the heavens to give light on earth, to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening and there was morning on the 4th day. And then he gets into the waters, and then he gets into the earth and the livestock, and so on and so forth. Of course, Seth, we can pray for your Uncle Jeff. So, with a 24
health issue, or just a little context on that prayer?
So, so as far as the 24-hour day, I don't understand how there can be 3 days prior where we measure that day by our Earth spinning around our sun, which hasn't even been created yet. He's having surgery. Okay. All right. You want to take us? You want to close this out?
Are you done this conversation?
No, I mean, so that's my point, DM, is that our time didn't even exist until the 4th day, so it couldn't be our time he's measuring by. Does that make sense? All right. All right, Brendan. Hey, what's up, Brendan?
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
All right, so let's go to prayer.
Do you want me to do general and you do the health?
You do general, and I can do the rest.
The DM says, day and night is kind of like a rule. The sun and moon guide our seasons. The vegetation would have died according to our earthly laws.
Well, that's why I'm saying is that they obviously, if you read as I read the text, again, I'm not saying I know, they're going through complete cycles already before it's even born. They're bearing fruit, they're bearing seed, they're doing all this stuff already. So some amount of time is passing there. Again, I don't know. It just seems that way to me. I think it's God working on God's time. Why would he choose our time when to understand? But it wouldn't be able to grow either using the 24-hour period in that amount of time. But it's God. He can do whatever, right? I'm not saying you're wrong. You could be just as right as I am. I have no idea. I'm just saying that I tend to believe that the 7 days are 7 days in heaven, whatever that is. So.
Mm-hmm. He brought them forth. Brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed. So he's not saying that action happened, but that's what will happen.
So how would they even grow without any light at all if it was pitch black and God had already said, let there be light, and there was already day and night, right? So there was already light.
I'm just saying, you're saying that they're already going through the cycles of dropping seed, growing. I'm not reading that necessarily. I agree that he said, let there be light. There's some sort of light.
And then after we wrap this up, we'll pray for everybody.
And DM, you are in a lot of company on that thought process.
You're the vast majority of it. And ye who say nothing doth licketh of thine devils, yea. Yeah, I don't know what you're saying there, Brendan. Sorry. God said, let the earth sprout vegetation, plants yielding seed and fruit, trees bearing fruit, in which is their seed, each according to their kind on earth. And it was so. The earth brought forth vegetation, plants yielding seed according to their own kind, and trees bearing fruit, in which it was their seed, each according to their kind. God saw that it was good. So, did they bear fruit so that God saw it was good?
So, your ESV, right? This one I've switched over. This is New King James. And it says, then God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth, and it was so. I don't know why they italicize weird words in here. And the earth brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. So the evening and the morning were the third day.
Okay,
So I think it's just you can dive in on analyzing that. Is it saying that I'm bringing forth these vegetations that will produce like this, or that did produce like that? I think so you have to decide kind of in what action are you ascribing to what you're reading.
yeah, I'm just reading it in a way. It seems to be active. Let the earth sprout vegetation plants yielding seed, and fruit trees bearing fruit, in which is their seed, each according to its kind on the earth. And it was so. The earth brought, past tense, forth vegetation, plants yielding seed, according to their own kind, and trees bearing fruit, in which is their seed, each according to its kind. And God saw that it was good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then I know
There's a future, there's an action, and then there's a past tense.
Mine still doesn't make it a past tense, but
Can you see how mine is?
I mean, I believe you as you're reading. I'm just saying mine still says that yields. It doesn't ascribe time one way or the other.
Right. Where's the heat coming from, right? Like where's all it's so unknowable. That's why I'm saying that I don't think 24 hours is we're going to limit God within 24 hours. He's an eternal being, created massive structures, creating an infinite universe. That light, right? Light that we see takes how many years to go from one end to the other?
Mm-hmm.
And we're saying God did this in 24 hours. And I don't think we need to do that to prove that he's God.
Right.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. And, and if there's no sun until the fourth day, where's the heat for the plants to grow? Where's, on and on and on and on.
Well, so I don't know if this is relevant or not. So in Genesis 2:4, it says, "This is the history of the heavens and the earth when they were created, in the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens, before any plant of the field was in the earth, and before any herb of the field had grown. For the Lord God had not caused it to rain on the earth, and there was no man to till the ground, but a mist went up from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground." So I don't know how that ties in. But
So you're talking about when he's in the Garden of Eden?
that's the history of the heavens and the earth.
Right. We can dive back into this. Right. And plants don't bear fruit in 24 hours is my point. And plants can't grow without light is my point. And plants can't grow in a nuclear cold and ice in ice either. I totally understand, brother, and I understand the canopy theory, and I actually believe the canopy theory, that that's what protected us. The whole world was wrapped in, a water atmosphere that protected us from the sun's rays and et cetera, et cetera. But since it's basically us in here, Brandy let's see here, Brandy said, wasn't the atmosphere different before Noah? It absolutely was different, Brandy. And, and that's why people live so much longer, is the rays that turn my beard white and cause our skin to age and shoot through us and give us light, but also kill us. Or we were protected from that, from, the covering around the earth, is what a lot of creationists believe. Again, it's a theory, just like everything we're talking about is theory. We're bouncing ideas off each other.
I do too. I'm answering Genesis.
I don't know what that bottom word is.
Can you clarify that typo, DM? Reader. I'm a Genesis reader.
Yeah.
Is that a book?
He was probably saying an Advid. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
All right. This discussion is very fruitful, well worth every moment. We dig it, love it. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it. I just want to know God's intent, God's word. And I think having discussions about this is about as fun as it gets. And I think that we have to, we have to take nothing. The one thing we have to go on is that every word in this book is true. And if every word in this book is true, we have to make sure that we interpret it appropriately and not go on the garbage that man interprets in here. Right. So again, I think
And
that
also then be willing to say this is an unknowable.
And have the wisdom to say this is beyond my primitive brain, and only the creator of everything is going to know this. Right. So I'm cool with that, but I think we are called to understand everything in here that we can.
Yeah.
And as the Holy Spirit reveals it to us, and I think there is nothing that makes God probably happier than us spending time in his word,
pouring over every single word. Yeah. Yeah, well, this is all friendly. I'm not.
This is all good, brother.
Text. Yeah.
There is nothing dark here at all. I'm glad you're here. I want to learn from you and everyone else. I mean, again, I don't pretend to know anything. I think that, as we pour over every word and we come to understand things instead of doing what most people do, which here's the Bible and I got to get through it. So I can say I've read the Bible, 17 times in my life, and they're just doing this and they're not even processing it. Right. So I want to sit here and digest it.
Who was it? Was it Paul who said he could spend years or something on just John 3:16, and you were like, oh, I read that at face value. I never thought that's a light and fluffy verse. And was it Paul Washer who was like, I could dive into that for
it's John 3:16.
Yeah.
He's like, if all I have is John 3:16, I could preach on it for 80 years.
And you're like,
and just barely scratch the surface. And I'm like,
that's the verse that my 2-year-old knows because I thought it was an easy one.
Yeah. So anyways, and then Brandon says, sometimes I get on my knees and I praise Jesus.
Not inappropriate.
Then I don't know if you're being a troll there or if you're doing whatever. So
I'd say that sounds like an inappropriate comment. So based on how you worded it, it's an inappropriate comment.
So anyways, let's pray it out.
Okay.
And I'll get specific. Seth, I hope you're still here.
Okay. Dan says, by the way, I do appreciate those prayers for my healing. I've had a rough week. All right. Jason's got one coming for you. All right. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you so much for this Friday night of fellowship and the conversation that it turned into. This is a little bit different than a lot of our fellowship Fridays, and we're grateful for that we were able to dive into your word in a way that we don't often do outside of the Wednesday night studies. So it was a blessing to be part of that tonight, and for this group tonight to join us in this seeking of understanding your word and your story that you've laid out for us, Lord. I pray that we did the beginning justice, and we know that there is so much more than we could possibly comprehend in each and every word, and we are doing our best to not skim over something that to you has so much meaning, and therefore to us we should find so much meaning, Lord. So thank you for the privilege of the time together to do that, and please just continue to enlighten us and catch our eyes on the words that truly matter, that could be the key to understanding something that is so important in our faith journey. So Lord, thank you for the blessing. And we're just grateful for this community who rallies around us every week, day in, day out, to strengthen their walks and strengthen our walk, and just learn so much more about you. And Jason will take it over with some specific prayers, but I'd just like to pray a blessing of peace and health and safety over everyone listening tonight. And may they enjoy some quiet time with their loved ones, and more importantly, some quiet quiet and introspective time with you this weekend, so that they can dive deeper in their love for you.
Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you in complete agreement, and we lock our shields of faith around DM, around Troy, and around Seth's uncle.
Yes.
Seth's uncle, Lord.
Jeff, I think.
We stand in complete agreement, and we pray a prayer of intercession over them, Lord, that your healing touch would be on them. You are the great surgeon. You are the great healer, Lord. Nothing is beyond you. We ask that you go in there and you push out the COVID. You push out and cure the cancers. You go out and you heal whatever ails them, Lord, in such a miraculous way that only you could have done it, Lord. And anyone who would see it from a mile away or hear about it years later would know that you, Jesus Christ, had done this for them. And I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
So,
Okay, I did not intend it that way. Okay.
all right. So,
Well, thanks for clarifying.
So, okay, whatever. So we just prayed for his uncle, and then he says that. So, all right, whatever.
All right, so let's see. Let's read the people who deserve being read. All right. So DMs, I don't think I'm offended or anything like that. It might be the pain meds showing its face too. By the way, there's no cancer in the last pathology report.
That's awesome.
That's
DM.
wonderful.
Praise the Lord. So we know to ban this guy.
God bless them all.
Yep. So we'll get through the trolls, guys, and go through there. So, anyways, we love you. You know, DM. I don't think you're offended. We came in here, iron sharpens iron, and sparks fly when iron sharpens iron. So we're here to find the truth and clearing off the imperfections of our knowledge. And that only happens when we discuss them, right? When we discuss them. And I'm willing to be wrong on anything. God knows I fear being wrong. I want to be corrected if I'm wrong. I don't want to lead people down a dark path. So I'm willing to roll up my sleeves and discuss it. And if I feel convicted, I'll confess I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not sure about how much time with the trees and that. I just read a future tense or an active tense and then a past tense, and I come up with that.
No, I think Brandon just worded it in a way that was susceptible to misinterpretation.
Yeah,
he's been good in all the rest of his comments, so I think that he's okay. But we'll see.
Time will tell. Everyone shows who they really are over time, so it's all good. I wish Troy had been here to hear it. I'm sorry we waited so long.
You can send him a text after.
I'm just scrolling up here just to make sure that we are good to go. There was one in the beginning that was a little cryptic.
Okay, we can figure it out after. Anyways, guys, thanks for hanging with us.
Yeah, I'm glad.
11:09.
Have an awesome, amazing weekend.
Well, most importantly, we will let you know what we named the turtle.
Yes. We'll also post pictures of their new kingdom, their new castle, on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So
the Turtle Castle.
It'll be awesome. I think we should call him Crusader because he's got a shield on his back.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Levy and Crusader.
Yeah.
Is that done deal?
Done deal.
Okay.
All right, everyone. God bless you all.
Crusader.
We love you.
Bye. Outro. You want to hit the outro?
Oh, thank you.
Caught it. All right. Good night, guys. Bye, Claudia.